The legend says that the pearl's oyster, Teufi, was offered to man by Oro, the god of peace and fertility. Some say that Oro offered the pearl from this oyster to the beautiful princess of Bora Bora as a sign of his eternal love. Commonly known around the world as black pearls, the pearls of Tahiti are indigenous to the remote lagoons of French Polynesia in the South Pacific.
Let's visit our pearl farm located in the Tuamotu Archipelago Islands in the atoll of Whakarava, classified by UNESCO as a biosphere reserve. Whakarava has ideal conditions for the oyster to grow and stay healthy. At certain times of the year, the black-lipped pearl oyster releases spawn that is then fertilized in the water. After floating freely for a month, the baby oysters, known as spat, fix themselves to the coral. The pearl farmers collect the spat by submerging artificial collectors into the lagoon. These baby oysters will stay submerged until they reach maturity after 2 to 3 years, and only then will they be ready for grafting. When the oyster reaches maturity, it is ready for grafting or nucleation. Oysters are nucleated using a bead called nucleus, prepared from mother of pearl of a mollusk shell found in the Mississippi River. First, the nucleus is surrounded by a small piece of mantle tissue taken from a donor oyster. The bead and mantle tissue are then carefully implanted into the oyster's gonad, the sexual organ of the oyster. Some of the oysters may reject and expel the implanted nuclei. Others may not survive. The nucleus causes irritation. Therefore, the oyster counteracts it by secreting a pearly substance called nacre. The nacre is applied in micro-thin layers by the oyster around the nucleus. After 18 to 24 months of nacre secretion over the nucleus, a pearl is formed. This long period of time is necessary to produce a nacre layer thick enough to meet government's regulation of 0.8 millimeter. The pearl is then carefully removed. The oysters that made a pearl will receive another nucleus of a larger size and will be placed into the lagoon for a second and last cycle of creation. The delicate nature of this species of oyster means that of every 100 oysters nucleated, only 40 will produce pearls, and only one will be the perfect gemstone. Tahitian cultured pearls are best known for their diversity of size, shape, quality, and many shades of natural colors ranging from pale gray to midnight black. Each pearl is carefully verified, sized, selected, and paired by Tahia and her team. Our master jeweler will then set them perfectly in Tahia's beautiful design. So to summarize, it takes more than 4 years between the birth of the oyster and the harvest of the pearl. Out of 10,000 oysters collected, 6,000 will reach the maturity and will be grafted. After 45 days, due to rejection of the nucleus and predators, only 3,600 of the oysters grafted are valid. After 18 to 24 months of immersion, only 2,400 will create a pearl. For every 100 pearls harvested, 30 will be of a round shape, and only 5% of these 30 will be of a grade A. And so, it will take Tahia 4 years and 10,000 oysters to create a perfect Tahitian black pearl strand.
Since I was a little girl, I was passionate by drawing and creating my own jewelry using shells and anything I could find, until I saw Tahitian pearls for the first time. I immediately fell in love with it. It was obvious to me that this was what I wanted to do. Later, I went to study at the Gemological Institute of America in the United States. In 1993, I opened my first boutique on the island of Moorea, where I was born and raised. Growing up in such beautiful surrounding, it's a perfect place to get all my inspiration for my design. I am also blessed to have my own pearl farm, which gives me the opportunity to follow the whole process from the beginning to the end. And one of my favorite moments is when the pearl comes out of the oyster. I already imagine the design for this particular pearl. I feel very lucky to make a living out of my passion here in French Polynesia. I know it's a lifetime dream for many people to come here, and when they choose one of my creations to take home with them, I am proud, as it will always bring back memories of their wonderful time in Tahiti and its islands.
Tahia and her team wishes you a wonderful stay in Tahiti and her islands.